It's crazy to think about, right? How much news we take in, like, every single day. I mean,
Yes.
think about it. From the moment you wake up, checking your phone to, like, scrolling through headlines at lunch,
Right.
maybe catching a bit on TV. But have you ever stopped to, like,
Yeah.
wonder if, like, a robot could be the one writing those stories?
Whoa.
It's not some far-off sci-fi thing anymore.
It really isn't.
We're talking about Quartz,
Okay.
that business news site.
Yeah.
They're using AI
Oh, wow.
to actually generate news articles.
That's pretty wild.
So today, we're diving deep into this whole experiment.
Okay.
What it could mean for, the future of journalism,
Sure.
the good, the bad, the potential upsides, all of that.
It's fascinating, isn't it? It's like we're not just talking about it in theory.
Right.
Quartz is actually out there doing it.
Yeah.
They set up this thing called the Quartz Intelligence Newsroom. It's like their little hub for creating these short news pieces, all powered by AI.
So it's not like full-on robot reporters running around,
Not yet.
but it's like dipping their toes in the water.
Yeah, exactly. They started off with earnings reports, which, super data heavy.
Yeah.
But now they're branching out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like into all sorts of other areas. So think about it, that quick update you read on a tech conference or like a summary of a big political speech
Could be a robot.
could totally be written by an algorithm.
It's kind of a mind-blowing thought, don't you think?
It really is. And the way it works is actually pretty interesting.
Okay, how does it?
The AI, like this digital brain, pulls information from all these different sources, like, big names like CNN, the Associated Press, you name it.
They're not going like leech little blogs, are they?
Well, maybe eventually. Right now, it's the big, reliable sources.
Okay.
And then it takes all that info and structures it into a readable article. But, and this is a crucial part, there are still human editors. They review, edit, all of that before it goes live.
So there's still that human touch, that oversight.
Exactly. It's not like a complete robot takeover. Not yet, at least.
Makes me wonder, though, like what kind of in-depth stuff could journalists do
Oh, yeah.
if they weren't bogged down with these shorter pieces?
That's a great point.
Could we see like a resurgence of investigative journalism?
Right.
Maybe even investigations into AI itself.
Ooh, meta.
I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
Exposing how algorithms are being used for good or for bad.
Yeah.
Or like, diving into the ethical dilemmas of all this AI-generated content.
Yeah.
That kind of work needs a human.
Absolutely. That depth, that judgment, the analysis, that's still very much human territory. AI can't really grasp that, at least not yet.
And this isn't just some newsroom thing either. The financial world is feeling the tremors. These AI-generated earnings reports.
Oh, yeah.
Totally revolutionary for how we look at companies, It's like having a super speedy analyst just crunching through all those numbers.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just speed. It's about making this really complex information accessible, right? I mean, earnings calls, financial reports.
Some of jargon.
So much jargon. It's like a secret language. But AI can crack the code.
Okay, how so?
They use this thing called natural language processing, NLP for short.
Okay.
It's basically teaching computers to understand human language.
Oh, interesting.
And these algorithms, they've been trained on mountains of data, so they can spot those key phrases, the patterns, and pull out the really important stuff like revenue projections, risk factors, and then they translate it into plain English.
Wow. So it's not just numbers, it's understanding what those numbers mean.
Exactly. It's about context.
Okay, that's pretty amazing. Any real-world examples of this?
Absolutely. Bloomberg, they've got this AI tool on their terminal platform.
I've heard of that.
It's super powerful. Takes those dense financial conversations and turns them into bullet points.
Oh, nice.
So instead of wading through pages of transcripts, you get the gist instantly.
That's convenient.
Right. Way easier to digest.
It makes you wonder, though, like, does every investor need to become an AI whiz to keep up now?
Not necessarily. I mean, the companies building these tools, they get it, They want them to be user-friendly. Take AlphaSense and Hudson Labs, for example. Both are doing some cool stuff with AI for earnings analysis, but their approaches are different.
How so?
Well, AlphaSense, they're all about that deep search, like finding that specific needle in a haystack of data. While Hudson Labs, they're leaning into the predictive stuff, using AI to forecast, future financial performance. So it's a pretty diverse field.
That's really cool. Different companies, different approaches.
Yeah.
But it makes you wonder, how accurate can these AI tools really be?
Yeah.
I mean, finance is nuanced, context is key. Can an algorithm really get all that?
It's a valid concern, for sure. And Quartz themselves, they're upfront about this whole thing still being an experiment. They know there's potential for errors, and they're working to improve that accuracy. But it does bring up another big question.
What is it?
What happens to journalists if AI really takes over the basic reporting?
Yeah, is it like hasta la vista, jobs?
It's a real possibility. Some people are worried about job losses in the industry.
And then there's the whole ethical side of things.
Oh, for sure. Lots to think about there.
Like Quartz, they cite their sources at the top of those AI-generated articles.
Right.
But what about within the text itself? Is it always clear where that info is coming from? We need to be careful about that.
Yeah, transparency is so important. We've got to be able to trust the news, right? Whether it's from a human or an algorithm.
Exactly.
This whole thing is changing so fast. And these conversations about AI's role in journalism, we need to have them.
Absolutely. So for everyone listening out there, think about this.
Okay.
What new roles will human journalists take on if AI becomes, even more common? And how will that change how we consume news, how we trust it? It's a lot to ponder.
It is.
And man, it'll be interesting to see where this all goes.
Yeah, it really will.
Thanks for diving in with us today.
Of course. Thanks for having me.